It's a warm welcome from downtown Cairo. I am close to the Egyptian Museum, which is where I'm heading to today. It's just over there. So come on, let's make our way in to the Egyptian Museum. I'm just inside the Egyptian Museum on the first floor, and there are absolute mammoth number of artifacts in this museum. I mean, I'm on the first floor and you could actually spend weeks, if not months here looking around. I went through the ground floor, just skimming through a lot of the artifacts, a lot of the statues that they've got down there, and they've got mummies on this first floor here. But you would need actually weeks to spend here. I think if ever you're doing a project on Egyptian history, I think this is the place to come, and you could actually spend a lot of time here, and there's so much resource, so much value to get from this place. As a tourist, I think it's worth coming to the Egyptian Museum anyway. It's only 200 Egyptian pounds, which in Great British pounds is less than $5. Is probably 5 or thereabouts, if not a little bit over, and the same probably in euros. But it's a phenomenal place. There's so much to see here, and just to let you know about the costs. So it's 200 for a normal entry. It's 100 with student discount, and if you've got a camera, mobile cameras, fine. Camera with flash or videography is a further 300 Egyptian pounds. But I think it's money well worth spent in this museum. Just in another room where there are mummies. Hopefully one doesn't get out and grab my camera from me and say, oh, you shouldn't be filming here. But they're just on that side over there. There's a couple of tourists over there that are blocking the way, so I'll let them go and get closer to them. But this is so much, there's so much here to see. It's phenomenal. Casts, moss casts, I guess. And over here you go, here are the mummies. See if I can get any writing from one of them. See, what does it say? It doesn't say whose it is. These ones I think are cardboarded, I think. There's some that I've seen here that are still in their bandage cloth. What does it say about this one? That's just a replica. But on the first floor, particularly on that side, you'll see some there. just on this side. As you walk up the stairs, as you walk into the museum, you can probably see it here. As soon as you enter, turn left and go up to the first floor, and just in those rooms there, you'll see a number of them. A lot of statues here as well. The section here with the old Egyptian ships. But I think it is worth spending a bit of time here at the museum, because there's so much to see and learn, and it's actually a fantastic building as well. Reminds me of the let's say the Natural History Museum that we have in London. That sort of structure. Just in a cafe just outside the museum, because it was hot in there as well, and so I just got myself a Coke Zero to cool down with. There's no air conditioning inside the museum, except for the part where there's Tutenkhamun's outer caskets, inner casket, outer casket, I think that's what they were called, because those are here, but you're not allowed to have any video filming equipment, photography equipment. There's absolutely no photography of any sort allowed. A couple of people got stopped with their mobile phones, but don't go in there and try and take any photos, because they will stop you, and it's signposted everywhere as well. I had my camera with me, I got a phone with me as well. I didn't take any, because if they clearly say it, I wouldn't try it. It's not really worth it, being kicked out of a museum in front of everyone. So don't do that. But there is this cafe that's outside the main museum, and there's also, as you exit the museum, there's also a souvenir shop, bookshop, all sorts of trinkets and t-shirts and dresses, hats, caps, you name it, whatever memorabilia you're looking for. Copies of Tutenkhamun's casket, mummies, and I Love Egypt t-shirts, I Love Cairo, Mohammed Salah t-shirts. He's very famous here. Apparently all Egyptians are Liverpool fans. So yeah, visit the Egyptian Museum, spend a good few hours here. I think if you are really into your Egyptian history, you spend a lot of time here, because there's so much to see and do. I only saw a fraction of what they have, because you would need to spend your time in one of those rooms. I think you could probably spend an hour in each room, because you'd look at every item, you'd read every card that's there, and unless you're really into the Egyptian history, I wouldn't do that. Go through a lot of the museum, you'll find different types of artifacts on display. The Tutenkhamun room is actually very nice. If the air conditioning alone is worth going into that room. It cools you down, and I wish I could stay in that room for a while. Actually, I wish the whole museum actually was like that, but it's not. And but I think if you are down in Cairo, make a trip to the Egyptian Museum. Video filming is allowed. They won't stop you. Photography of any, all kinds is allowed here. There's no restriction on it. There's a couple of security gates you've got to get through. Baggage checks that they do, scanners, and they check your baggage and your possessions. You've got to go through them. It's quite strict here. Security is quite strict. Even walking through to get to the museum, there's security just even before you enter the complex from the road. It's like an army compound. It really is. So there's a lot of security here. I'm assuming it's because of the troubles that they've had, and they're trying to make things safe, and they're trying to make sure that they have no more troubles, because tourism is a vital part of the Egyptian economy. And so if you are down, make a point to come to the Egyptian Museum. It's actually very cheap to visit, and you get so much choice to explore, to look at. So from the Egyptian Museum, from the cafe that's outdoors, it's goodbye.